T minus 50 seconds. T minus 40 seconds. T minus 30 seconds. T minus 20 seconds. Ten, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Bring your appetite down to Big Belly Cafe, 140 Gore Street, Webster, Mass. for curbside, takeout, and indoor seating. Visit BigBellyCafe.com to view their hours, menu, and order online. For reservations, please call ahead at 508-949-2433. Follow Big Belly Cafe on Facebook for weekly and daily specials. And remember, all veterans receive a discount for their recognition of service. Big Belly Cafe. Reedy's Archery, located in Middleborough, Mass. at 121 Wood Street, has been a staple in the area since 1993 and has become the one-stop pro shop for competitive target archers and bow hunters from New England. Reedy's is open Monday through Thursday, 12 p.m. to 8 p.m., Saturdays, 10 p.m. to 4 p.m. Make sure to visit Reedy'sArchery.com and follow them on Facebook to keep up with upcoming events. Reedy's Archery, dedicated to the archer. Wolf Aviation Network is the only flight school in the area utilizing the Airwolf Simulator AATD and the specialized Part 61 training program designed to save students money while increasing safety and efficiency. Creating safe pilots is our first priority. Our flight sim is the perfect training device. It is designed to prepare students adequately before taking flight in our aircraft. Fly with us and save money. Wolf Aviation. Reserve your spot at 413-563-1929 and visit wolfaviationnetwork.com.
Ever hear the one about the frog? Put a frog in a pot of boiling water and it'll jump right out.
Here's my resume again.
But put a frog in a pot of cool water and slowly heat it up, and that frog will boil. It's a lie. But as a metaphor for us and all that we go through as veterans,
Do you have any real-world experience?
it's a story that rings true. We make excuses for how we feel. We push everything down. We tell ourselves the lie that it's easier to stay in that boiling water, to disconnect. And some days, maybe it is. But you've never been interested in easy. Make no mistake, reaching out is hard. Do it anyway. You're not alone. You've got this. You are not a frog.
Find resources at va.gov/reach.
That would be cool.
Yeah. Let's do it.
Welcome to another episode of Fubar Studios. I'm your host, Doug, and today we've got a special guest here with us today. His name is James Wing, who I was I got him. He got me in contact with Ed and the tribute bike that I just had him on regarding the tribute bike. But I want to have James, thank you for coming on, and I'm going to have you go ahead and introduce yourself and just give us the whole background, everything from military career to being out as a civilian now.
Well, I'm born and raised in Livingston, Montana. Yellowstone Park was my backyard growing up.
Yep.
So, cool life there. Didn't join the Army until I was like 22, 23 years old. Uh, Fort Dix, went there for basic training in 1990. And then went to Fort Lee to do dietitian tech work. And as soon as I graduated from that school, they decided to get rid of our MOS. And since I had to go through cooking school, which I did at Fort Dix too, so I ended up just being a cook in the Army. And then I got sent to Fort Drum, New York. And I was thinking being a cook in the Army because everybody told me, oh, cooks sleep in late. And you never see the cooks. They don't do anything, never at PT. Boy, and come to find out, yeah, the reason why you didn't see the cooks, we phoned 16-hour shifts and stuff, but it was a great experience for me. I learned a lot. I had a lot of great leaders along the way.
Yeah.
I ended up staying in for 8 years and, made my rank and stuff, did good. Did Fort Drum, and then I went to Panama for a year, and then I eventually did my last duty station in the area where I'm at now is Fort Campbell, Kentucky. And like a lot of veterans, the injuries just eventually caught up to me because I was flat-footed, and finally had a surgeon here at Fort Campbell look at my feet and finally realized what my problem was and said you couldn't do no more. So I ended up getting out, and I got out in 98, stayed here in the Fort Campbell, Clarksville, Tennessee area. And I got a happy family now. And, I just retired from Walmart as a truck driver last year and, been here ever since. Got 5 kids and a wife and very happy.
Yeah, bless you on the 5 kids. I mean, I've got 5 kids myself. It's a blessing to have them. And I'm now where I'm at up here in Massachusetts. And, speaking of truck driving, that's exactly what I'm doing. I don't truck for Walmart or anything. I've done natural gas and stuff like that. And then got into heavy equipment and I've been doing hauling for heavy equipment, but now I'm in the union truck driving, which it's amazing. It's what I did in the service too. I was a 88 Mike motor transportation truck driver, and I drove 42 wheelers. And that was phenomenal. I enjoyed it. But my last duty station was Westover Air Force Base, where I drove the general around over there and did my last of my year there, and then I got out. Now, with your time in, did you have any combat experience or anything like that?
Well, I was deployed to Somalia, which we talked with Ed about last week and stuff, and I did 2 different tours over there. My unit, 41st Engineers out of Fort Drum, New York, was one of the first units to go over there. And basically it was just there was a combat unit, but they, had heavy equipment too. So it was set up the road and stuff. And being a cook, the cooks are going to go there too. And that first mission, there wasn't much going on. We really didn't do much. I think we ended up staying probably about 3 months, and we returned back to the States. And then maybe about 6 months later, or maybe later than that, is when they sent their group from Fort Drum, the 214th Infantry and 41st Engineers, sent some guys with them, to do some stuff. And, support element, you always got to have a cook and medic and someone to join them, from the supporting units to go along with them. So they sent me, and that's how I ended up over there. And, probably if I knew it or not, I probably had met Ed when I was over there, but I didn't meet him until like 30 years later, I'm better with faces than I ever was with names. And of course, everybody knows the story of the Battle of Mogadishu, and I lost a good friend in that battle. And in a long kind of bad way, that's how me and Ed ended up coming together. So, and one of the organizations I really got to mention that was, real significant in about my journey meeting Ed was Waypoint Vets, based down here in Hendersonville, Tennessee, and ran by Sarah Lee, who is an Iraqi veteran. And I mean, she is her and her organizations it's just wonderful. And they do a lot of great things. And, their mindset is live for the fallen. And they do a lot of outdoor stuff to get veterans out there, with the PTSD, and they do women's only operations and stuff. So, they're a great organization. And
yeah. Now, that organization, are they still around doing things, or are they, or do you stay in contact with any of your friends, your battle buddies and stuff like that you served with, like Ed and stuff like that?
No, not really. I kind of, after the Battle of Mogadishu, and after I did eventually get out, probably like a lot of veterans, I just want to leave everything behind. I didn't really, I spent years like a lot of other people trying to understand what I went through, because first of all, me being a cook, I wasn't expecting, the kind of things I was going to do. I figured I was just going to, hey, wake up in the morning, cook some eggs and flip them onto the soldier's tray, and, and cooking some hamburgers in the afternoon, and that's what I really thought. I wasn't, but, being with 41st Engineers, our battalion commander at the time, when we did like field problems, had a great philosophy about things. He's like, if my cooks ever get killed, someone else is going to go over there and make my coffee for me. So his idea was to cross train almost everybody in the unit to do other jobs. So, you might be a cook and you might be out with the engineers or doing something with the medics, and the vice versa. The medics and engineers will still be over there on certain things, doing, working with the cooks and stuff, doing what the cooks were supposed to, what the cooks do, and we do what they do. We wouldn't, go play medic for a little while and then go back and do cooking. No, the whole field problem, that's where he's at. So
yeah, because I know, again, it's where I was. It's I still keep in contact with a select few, not a lot. It's again, it's the same thing. It's, you want to get out and that's it. But there's some of the guys that I've kind of associated with that I still had a lot of more bonding time that a lot of us didn't stay in contact, but then the ones that we had more bonding time, we kind of still look out for one another, with occasionally, just sending a message either via my Facebook or something, or even a text message once in a while.
Yeah, every now and then I'll come across one on Facebook and stuff. And like I said, working with an organization like Waypoint Vets, and just being here in Fort Campbell, which has a strong veterans presence here in this area. I've taken over the course of about the last 5 years, gotten out and started working with more vets, and started, I volunteered at the local VA clinic and stuff, meeting veterans over there and doing stuff like that. And, and I am in a really good spot in my life right now.
That's
probably
good.
The best spot I've been in here for years. And, my philosophy now is I want to try to pay it forward. And help you younger vets, because, I'm older than you,
Oh, yeah.
And I want to help you younger vets. I want them to, help them understand that, what they went through, but they're not alone, and a lot of them get the wrong ideas. Well, I'm going to reach out to the VA and get help, which they should do. And, the VA is there for them. But at times they feel like they get neglected, and they don't realize it. And what I've, is that there's other guys out there that are willing to put their hand out and just sit down at a park bench with them and talk to them. And sometimes not even talking about what they're going through. It's just someone interested to talk to them. And
yeah,
I have met a lot of veterans in the last 5 years, like I said, who don't want to go to like sit down in a bar and have a drink and stuff. They're trying to get away from that alcohol
Yep.
and stuff. And what they really like is looking for mentorships, is where someone can teach them how to work on a motorcycle, how to work on their cars, how to start a lawnmower business,
yeah,
and that's what they're looking for, how to learn how to cook, how to work in a restaurant, how to open up their own food truck and stuff,
yeah,
and that's one of the things I think as veterans, I think we could do a lot better for them. Not, this mentality is, yeah, it's fine. Hey, we'll sit down and have a beer sometimes. Hey, you know what? We can sit down and have a cup of coffee over it too.
yep. No, and I did that with a acquaintance I know, again, another veteran, and he kind of isolates himself, to where he's just in his apartment, and he doesn't go out but maybe once a month. And not to, I mean, really put his name out there, but he's one of those guys that he likes to just have that cup of coffee, someone to come over and just listen to him talk. And it may not be just regarding how he's feeling or whatnot. It may just be talk about maybe religious talking or whatnot. But I sat over there one day, and I sat there for probably a good 4 or 5 hours, and was just the person of just listening, to allowing him to talk and get whatever was on his shoulders off. And that's basically what he always wants to do, because again, just like myself, I don't want to go have a beer or two. I'm one of those types that unfortunately I got diagnosed with cirrhosis of the liver, because of my days in, and because of stuff that I went through. I became an alcoholic, and so now it's like I don't even go near a bar. I don't go near the liquor aisle. I don't go even down in the grocery store to where the wines and stuff are at. I'm just a person that wants to have that cup of coffee or glass of orange juice or whatnot, and just to shoot the shit, and that's it. And just as much as you do with how you want to be able to give back to the veterans, that's what this whole thing is. It's with this podcast is I want people to know that I want to give back to the veteran community as well, and be able to have people on and have people to be able to share their experience, good, bad, or indifference, and then be able to provide people with a connection, which some people call it a bridging the gap between things, and be able to get people that information, just like the thing that I have that I started with DDR Motorsports, with the day on the track with a veteran, to get veterans out there, past, present, and future veterans, ones that are active duty that are going to be getting out, to be able to get people to interact and be able to get into something like being on a track and be able to talk to the pit crews. Something that they may like to do is talk to a mechanic, or talk to a race car driver and say, hey, that's kind of cool that you're going 120 miles an hour in those turns. How do I get into something like this? It opens up those doors, and it gets the veterans to talking, as well as it gets the people in the pits to talk too, and be there for these veterans. And I haven't said it yet, but thank you for your service, James. I really appreciate your service. You did a lot. You done a lot for this country, and a lot of people don't say it enough. But I always like to still say it to every veteran that I run into. It doesn't matter what branch they were in, or if they had combat experience or non-combat experience. I still like to always tell people thank you for your service, because it means a lot. There's not a lot of people that put their lives in that position and take an oath, defend this country, foreign and domestic terrorism and stuff. It means a lot. So I want to say thank you.
Well, it's an honor, and do it right back to you. Thank you for what you've done and what you have done and what you are doing. With this podcast, it's going. Your podcast, I've been watching ever since I, reached out to you and stuff, and it's growing.
It is.
And you're getting people tuning in. You're getting recognition, and you found a positive way to do it. And,
yeah.
It's these kind of podcasts is what we're talking about, what veterans need to see. And what I don't think that people are realizing with podcasts and what you're doing and stuff, it is bridging a gap out there that I've noticed, between what the Vietnam veterans were and, this younger veteran crowd and, us, my generation in between. The Vietnam veterans, rightly so, were very pissed off for years for what they got treated and stuff, and they should have been. And, I've noticed here in Clarksville and stuff and around the Fort Campbell area is that these veterans from the Vietnam era and stuff, and even some parts back in that, are starting to embrace these younger veterans of your age and your time and stuff. And it's like they're willing to open up their arms now and say, come here, brother, come here, sister.
Yeah.
And it's amazing. And I'm glad to see it.
It is. It really is amazing. And, we want to do the same, and it's, I know a lot of veterans, including a gentleman I know who is a Marine Corps veteran, started up, They Fought We Ride foundation, that donates all the proceeds that they raise to veterans. And the gentleman's name is Andy Bigelow, and I can't tell you enough that what he has done to the books that he has written, which I'm on the second book now, which it's called The Rifle, and it's about going back to the Battle of the Bulge. It does stuff like, it has so much stuff that's on it. I'll put a link into the podcast where I'll pin it, and so everybody can see it. And if you want, I can send you the information on it. But the guy has done amazing work with World War II veterans, with the M1 Grand rifle, that he had so many veterans sign it. And it's sad that we're seeing a lot of those veterans now, are passing away, and the numbers are dwindling down. But just like the Vietnam era, those men and women who put their lives on the line, and again, they didn't get the recognition that they deserved when they came back home. They had a lot of disparaging comments said to them, and they were treated poorly. And people need to understand that they only did a job. They only did what they had to do to bring themselves back home, because it was, kill or be killed. And they get treated the way they did. It's absurd, and it's great to finally see that a lot of people are recognizing the Vietnam veterans and all these other veterans, that realizing we need to tell them thank you and honor them, because they only did a job that they were called for. And that's big. Again, it's only 3% of US citizens that actually serve their country. That's a small number, but again, it's the ones that want to serve. Getting into the other part of now, since you've been out and everything, the VA, I know you said you have so much good stuff to talk about the VA. You know, what are those, is there any area, you can talk about the good parts. I will always want to hear the good parts, but also I want to know if there's any spots that where one veterans like myself, I have an issue where it's like I tried to go with the VA to get an appointment. And for instance, I have one that I've been going since last year trying to get a surgery. It's taken over a year and a half to finally for them to get me to get in. And I've had to raise a lot of fuss about it, but it's like, holy crap, to get my appointments, to finally get my dates scheduled. It's finally after a year and a half that they finally scheduled it. That's the only problem I see is that scheduling wise to get appointments for surgeries and sometimes appointments. It's kind of a little it's hectic. Other than that, I mean, I've always had good experience. What's your take on everything?
Well, you know what you're talking about, trying to get appointments and stuff. You know, of course, everything can always be improved somehow or another. And if any system is willing to move along and adapt to, you know, coming trends and, you know, technology and stuff to keep things out. But
Yeah,
that's one thing. I think one of the problems that if I say anything about the VA is like down here in Tennessee, our VA system down here in Tennessee, where I'm ran at is ran by Tennessee Valley Healthcare System. You know, and these systems are so regionalized that, you know, and that the VA, you know, contracts out to these folks to do this, which I can understand that. And in a way, it's the best thing, but I don't think they're all operating on the same wavelength consistent about doing things.
Yeah.
I think there are some over there there are some I believe out there just more worried about pocketing a buck.
Yeah.
And there's others out there, I think, you know what, in my case down here in Tennessee is truly there for me. But, my quick story on the VA system is when I got out of the Army, I got out at 10%.
Yeah.
I was misled when I got out because I always believed that, you know, if I wanted to, you know, before I signed myself out of the Army, you know, if I wanted to take and appeal my judgment for 10%, I had to be on a plane the next day to fly down to Fort Sam, Houston, and be in front of the medical board in full Class A uniforms, you know, to present my case. I'm like, first of all, how in the hell, you know, it's like 3:00 in the afternoon when they're telling me this. How am I going to get down there? And how many times have you ever seen cooks wear Class A's? You know, it ain't like, you know, the rest of you guys, like, you know, your Class A is always ready to go because you guys always doing drill 7. Like cooks are not like that. You know, hey, I got a good pair of cook whites somewhere. But I went for years. It wasn't until 2005 that a buddy of mine told me, he said, why don't you go back to the VA and see if you can appeal it? And, you know, blah, blah. Nah, they told me. And I went back and then I finally got up to 30%.
Yeah.
Then I let it go for years again. And eventually I went back in and got it, you know, did another appeal and for other things I had going on with me. And, you know, just this last July, I finally made it up to 100%. You know, so if I say anything to veterans, keep going after it. And don't listen to all these YouTube idiots sometimes, you know, that, you know, give out all this erroneous advice. You know, I'm not going to mention some of the names of the ones out there, but there is a lot of them that give them. And don't go run into a lawyer. Find yourself a good VSO. Don't go run into a lawyer and give up half of your amount of money that you got coming to you. Because there's a couple of soldiers I have met that are at 100%, but they're still in financial ruins because they went and hired a lawyer to do all their work for them. And the lawyer took and, you know, got their doctors in the pocket, you know, wrote all these letters for them. And now they're still paying back a lawyer, you know, and they barely got money to survive on, and they're unemployable, so they can't work.
No, you're absolutely 100% true on that. That's I can't say it enough. It's, you don't need a lawyer to tell you to file your benefits. A good VSO, and this is one thing that I did find out, that you can go to any VSO you want in any state even if there's the one like up here in Massachusetts, if I wanted to call my VSO, who is Carol, I call her up and say that I now moved down to Florida, I can still have her as my VSO because she's a VSO, she's a certified VSO. Again, it's, you got to stay persistent with veterans have to stay persistent on what they need, what they want to get out of it. If you feel that you're entitled to the 100%, you keep going for it. Don't back off of it. Because sometimes doctors do get it wrong, or they check off the wrong box, or the doctor might have had 10 different appointments and they might have only checked yours off, like some of it, and then totally forgot all about the rest of it and didn't check the box off or whatnot. You can request a review to it. So keep submitting the stuff that you have. If you have evidence, there's forms out on there that you have to submit additional evidence for. But you got to stay persistent, and you can't just take the first answer or the second answer at pretty much saying that I'm done with it. You've got to stay digging in it, dig your heels in, and stay persistent on getting everything sent in and filled out, because that's where us veterans need to understand that we don't just need to back down just because one person said no. You got to stay persistent and keep going for it. And again, don't listen to a lot of people that are out there that tell you, oh, that's not good, that's not good. I had one VSO say to me that he says, no, you're not entitled to anything, don't even bother submitting for it. And I'm like, okay, that doesn't sound right. So I filled it all out myself the first time. The first time that I filled it out, I got 50%. First time. And that's, sometimes they say that's highly unheard of that you get that. But again, if you have the documentations and the evidence for it,
yeah,
just put in for it. I mean, that's what is there.
Unfortunately, in any system, you got the good and the bad, and you got the undereducated, and
Yep.
and you got ones that are willing to step out and do everything they can for the veteran. And sometimes it's a crapshoot on who you get.
It really is.
And and sometimes you need to, you can do a little, research on the VSO you got and stuff. Don't be afraid to go in there and ask your VSO questions about what their background is, how long they've been doing it, and how many cases, and and don't be afraid to tell one that, I appreciate your effort, but I would like, you can even ask their supervisor to sit in on some of the meetings and stuff, and sit there and say, can your supervisor sit in? And sometimes the supervisor might catch something that, because it could be a new VSO, and still learning the ropes. And, they may not catch something that the supervisor may do. There's a lot of stuff to it.
Yeah.
And like I said, and that's one of the things I'm doing. I don't belong to any certain organizations, but there's organizations I work with.
Yeah.
And, because I got Reach Across America, the Middle East Combat Conflict Wall in Marseilles, Illinois, and, I speak of waypoints and stuff, but I still, talk to veterans out on the street, Walmart, and all that. And first thing I say is like, are you registered with the VA? That's step one right there of anything.
It is, really is. And I've walked the streets in Boston, talking to homeless people, veteran or non-veteran, just because, again, the only way you're going to be able to talk to veterans that are on the street is getting into where they're at, and listening to everybody. You don't take everything that you hear to heart. But again, some things, the only way you're going to be able to reach, some people that are in the veteran community, but that are homeless, is getting out there and speaking to them. And that's one way I've found it. And I speak to veterans, and it's that are homeless, and it's like, have you filled this out? Have you stopped in? Do you know that, hey, here in Massachusetts, we have certain things for homeless veterans that, you know, there was a lady, Stephanie, who is with the the heck is it? It's a veteran organization up here in Massachusetts in Gardner, that if you're a homeless veteran, they actually have facilities where they will get you into the bedding, get you into these facilities. They will then also help you get taken care of into the VA system, get you all enrolled with everything, and they also have housing that they can transition housing that they can get you into. That is amazing, which, you know, it's all done through the VA, and again, it puts you where you got a roof over your head, you got food in your belly, you're getting your money through the VA once everything is, you know, all that is done. But there's so many organizations that are out there. Even another one is Julie, who is up in New Hampshire. She has Homeland Heroes. She's trying to get this Homeland Heroes Foundation nationwide, and everything. And she has this stuff where she gets veterans, if they need like say they have a house or apartment, say they need it furnished, she will get you with, you know, a brand new mattress, you know, maybe a gently used headboard, footboard, frame and stuff like that. She gets the veterans, if they need a gas card, they'll have it loaded with like $100 something for fuel. They'll have another Visa, MasterCard gift card that will be for groceries, or might even be for Market Basket or Hanover, Hannaford's Market. You know, all these gift cards just for veterans. But it's just getting those foundations that are out there, getting it out there for the veterans so they know about this stuff, and getting them in contact with these people. Homeless veterans are the ones that are hard to be able to get in contact with these people, because again, they don't have a radio, they don't have a phone, they don't have all this means of getting onto the system. So what I do is, when I walk the street, I go out, talk to them, and get them to go on my phone or tablet to then get registered with that, and then take them up to see Julie. Excuse me, sorry. But it gets them stuff that they need. You know, even if they need to go over to Veteran Inc. or something and get them a sleeping bag, a tent or whatnot, socks. Those are things I know I do. But again, it gets the veterans into these doors, because homeless veterans are one of the hardest ones to get them to be able to get them access to a lot of this stuff, because they don't have easy access to the interweb or phone and stuff like that.
Yep. Yeah. You know, I mean, what you're talking about hits really close home with me, because about 3 years ago, my mom had called me and asked me if I had heard from my brother David, who is a Navy vet.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I was like, no, I haven't heard anything from him. You know, I just live in that type of family where, you know, we don't need to talk every week and stuff. You know, but you know, we're always there. And I never really much thought about it. And she goes, well, he was living down in Phoenix, but no one's heard from him. So I finally tried to call around to some of the last numbers we had for him, and I finally had to put a missing persons report in, and he was living on the streets out of his car. And the only way we found him was, you know, a state trooper had pulled him over for expired license and stuff. And luckily, the state trooper was a veteran too, because they had to get me on the phone to verify that we were looking for him.
Yeah.
And luckily, with the help of that state trooper and some veterans organizations there in the Phoenix, Arizona area, and with me doing some follow-up, we were able to get him, and now he's not living on the street. He's got himself a dog and a nice little subsidized apartment in Phoenix now, you know.
Nice. So, that's good. So that's really good to hear.
You know, so there is, you know, every life saved is one less life lost.
Yeah.
That's how I look at it.
You
know, And I just, I wish there was more we could do for veterans. I wish the general public could understand veterans a little bit better, and if you see a veteran struggling, you know, it might just take for you just to take them into Hardee's and sit down and have a cup of coffee with them, buy them a breakfast, and
Yeah.
just talk to them. You might be able to. Down here, we got an organization. I don't know if it's up there in the area. It's called Operation Stand Down.
Yep.
That does a lot of work down here in this area. They got a big outlet down in Nashville, Tennessee, like we were
Yep.
talking about earlier. That they do a lot of things down there. So, and probably one of the things I wish more is, some of the veterans organizations you got up there in, the Northeast and stuff, and some that we got down here in the South and around the Nashville area, and it's across the country. I wish there was a way, a system where they all could work together and talk to each other, where maybe one organization is based here, like a Waypoint Vets, based here in Hendersonville, Tennessee, and someone up from from the lady you were talking about in New Hampshire, Bill. Hey, I heard about a soldier or about a veteran down there.
Yep.
Is there any way you can handle, and I wish there was a network system set, hopefully your podcast can start seaming these organizations together, because I think, they all want to do good. They're all doing good, and they all got the right idea, and bless them all. Yeah. But I think they could work better as a group effort, than trying to work on an individual basis at times.
True. That is 110% true. Is that if they could get all together and be on where they can communicate to one another, to be able to say, hey, I got this veteran that's down here. Can you assist them with it? And be able to talk to them through that, instead of saying, well, hey, reach out, tell the veteran, hey, reach out to this organization. They will, get you taken care of or whatnot. It's putting it back onto the veteran instead of, getting them hooked up with that organization, or having that other organization to reach out to the veteran, within a certain time frame. It's better for each organization to work together than just work as an individual, because again, it takes a town to raise a kid, is what my grandparents always said to me, and it takes a country to to help take care of its veterans. It's not just one person, it's multiple, and if we all work together as one, that gear will actually turn a whole lot smoother than just one person at a time dealing with it themselves, because one person can, it's like a hamster on a hamster wheel. They're going to get tired at one point.
Yeah.
But if you have multiple people that are willing to be in that wheel, then it's going to keep turning, and taking care of more people. So, that you hit one thing that I've been trying to tell people is it's better for everybody to work together than just separately. And hopefully that does work out, because, I've got a veteran that I know that is down in Texas right now. He's going up to Oklahoma. He's working his way up. But he's living out of his car. Again, I'm working with him to sending him, a little bit of money here and there, through like Cash App stuff. I've got another veteran that's up in Michigan. That's over by the Minnesota. I think it's Minnesota. I forget the town. Who is another veteran. He's a 3rd Bat Ranger veteran. So again, it's someone that I'm working with, trying to get them help, because they're, again, another veteran that is in the VA system, but again, is only living off of so much on a VA disability, and is still trying to get his rating up more. But it'd be nice if all organizations could work together, because then again, like I said, it would just work a whole lot easier than than working separately, you know.
And it just had that pipeline system where, you know, and
Yep.
but it's just because I have been places and seen where there's like fundraisers going on, and
Yeah.
it would be like 2 or 3 different groups there trying to raise funds, and I'm like,
Yeah.
you know, I appreciate it, like I've said, but it's also seemed like, you know, they're working against each other.
Yeah.
You know, and sometimes people end up getting kind of like overwhelmed, you know, because also you get the time that every time you turn around, you know, you got, you know, and it's just not veterans organizations, but if you got organizations that are always standing doing drives and stuff out in front of Walmart, you know, and stuff
Yep.
like that, and every week you go there's a different group there, you know, and general public starts questioning about, okay, which one of these are legit, and you know,
Yeah.
so, and like I did a fundraiser with back in May with Waypoint Vets down in Hendersonville, Tennessee, and you know we're staying on the corner, we're holding signs and stuff, and I didn't think much of it, but this one guy pulled off into a parking lot, and asked me to come over there, and he was a veteran himself, you know, and he's like, is this a legit operation? Yeah, you know, I had to give him the website information, had to, you know,
Yep.
give him a pamphlet and stuff. And he goes, well, I was just wondering because there was some guys out here last week that were out here, and he goes, they didn't have no backup information about what the organization was. They just said it was for veterans. And yeah, unfortunately, when you run into situations like that, it's like, okay, well, so I mean,
yeah, because like, you know, for instance, my podcast, it doesn't work overnight, that you can't just get switched into, you can't just become a nonprofit 501c3.
Yeah.
You know, I've started mine, which is my podcast, which I started it as a LLC. Everything that I get that comes in, I then take it and issue it out as you know, as donations to whatever organization. Then I take that, and then when I file my taxes for the LLC, then I file as I had X amount of dollars come in, but then I donated the same exact amount of money as a donation to these organizations. Here's their nonprofit or tax ID, which then it comes out to where then I don't pay taxes, but for the LLC, because everything was donated. But it keeps that record with the IRS, which then I'm applying to try to get the nonprofit, the 501c was it 3c3 nonprofit status. Right. So yeah, you know, just so I have it, so I'm on the right path of getting it, because again, people do, and without having that credibility and having that information, you know, there are so many companies that are out there, and I'm not saying bad about anything with, you know, Wounded Warriors Project. They've done a lot of good, but they take in money and they pay all their employees.
Yes.
You know, and only a small portion of the money that's raised is actually given out. Where my friend Andy Bigelow, who his organization, everything that they get in as a donation goes completely right out the door, donating it to the veterans. They don't keep one single penny. They don't keep a nickel. They don't keep a penny. They take it and donate it straight out to the veterans. That is an organization that I would always stand behind, because that's money coming in and all the money going right out to the veterans. They're not keeping a dime, which is amazing. And those are the organizations I like to work with and keep funding, because that's hits me right there where the money's going to the correct organization. But again, I mean, it's those are the organization, and that's what happens when people do fundraisers for veterans and they have nothing that's behind them. and then they're keeping the money for themselves. It's like, why am I going to donate to it? And that's another reason why people always look back at it and say, is that company even legit? Is that person legit? Are they doing things right? Are they doing it by the book? And that's hard sometimes, and that's why people question it. It's a sad world that we live in, that people do that.
Right.
It's sad, but it happens too often, and hopefully the country can get a grip of these scammers. For instance, all these other scammers that come out there to try to scam people out of money, they get a grip on that and stop it. But unfortunately, I don't know if that's ever going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, there's been a couple of times I've stopped and, gotta be standing on the side of the road, help, homeless veteran stuff. And sometimes all it takes is ask a couple of questions, and
Yep.
unfortunately, I don't blame anybody for doing that, and you'll find out, who's for real and who's one, because there's one homeless guy that I met one time where he said he was homeless, and he was right across the street from the veterans clinic here in Clarksville. Went up the sign, homeless veteran, and need help.
Yep.
And I'm like, you're right across the street. There's a starting point right there for you.
Yep. It's, hey, do you have that VA card? It's like,
yeah.
That's really all you need it to, like, say, okay, here, I'm a veteran.
Yeah.
The problem I am finding with that as well is that, for instance, there was a lady who was in Rhode Island, next state over. She claimed to be a veteran, a Marine Corps veteran.
Talking about the VFW lady?
Yeah.
I read that story.
It's like, are you that brazen to say you are a veteran, use all the people's information that you work with at the VA hospital, use their own information to get your own benefits because you're not a veteran and you're a post commander?
Yeah.
How nobody noticed anything? That's kind of odd.
That's what I'm saying. It's simple. Sometimes some of the most simple questions you can ask somebody, and it's, I can say, like in my own MOS when I was in the Army and stuff, is you're always going to work with somebody who worked with somebody you probably knew at some time or another.
Yeah.
You can sit there and say, hey, do you know Sergeant Smith? Yeah, I knew Sergeant Smith, but there's always questions about, like one of the big ones I used to run into is time when I catch somebody. I swear to God, for the longest time, I was the only person that was never in special forces, because all these homeless guys, oh yeah, I used to be special forces. I'm like, what, am I the only guy that was never in the special forces?
Nope, I wasn't either.
But that was always their go-to answers when they was trying to scam somebody. I was in special forces, and it's like,
oh, the one thing as I like is when I was going through basic, the drill sergeant was like, hey, who wants to be a 98 Zulu? And everybody's like, the hell is a 98 Zulu? Oh, it's combat ninja. And that was always like a go thing, because like, I mean, it was hilarious. It was nobody's gonna be a 98 Zulu, but
right.
for combat ninja, but that was one of the things. But a lot of the stuff when I asked veterans, just to try to get an idea of if they were even a veteran, it's, hey, how many phases do you go through in basic training? Well, again, Vietnam era and stuff like that, they might not have gone through, they might not have had the phases then, which again, I don't know. But when I was in, you had red phase, you had blue phase, you had no, it was red phase, white, and then blue, which then it was red, white, and blue when it was graduation. And that's how it was. But you had 3 phases that you went through, and graduation was, was the best one, but that's, again, you had you had a 1-night FTX, then you had 3-night FTX, and then you had a 5-night FTX. Nowadays I don't know if they even do it, but when I went in, we did bayonet, but then they stopped doing bayonet courses after I got out, after I left basic. They don't do the bayonet course anymore. But I went to Fort Jackson, Relaxin' Jackson is what they call it. But that was when I went through it. They're changing a lot of stuff. I know, even down to how long they're spending at basic. It went from 8 weeks to 9 weeks, now to I think 10 weeks. But again, I try to ask people the simple questions of that. MOSs always are going to change. MOSs will never stay the same. So 88 may not even be around anymore. But the job titles and stuff like that are always going to be the same. They don't do light wheel mechanics. What is it? Light wheel mechanics. They do all wheel mechanics now.
Yeah.
So again, there's a lot of stuff that you can always question people and ask people about. But those are things I ask people just to try to get an idea if they were a veteran. Other things I know, if you have an IDs on a lot of people nowadays, you can get the word veteran on it. Again, all you got to do is have your DD-214. But I like to still help out. I used to not ask the questions, but now I do. It's because, again, I don't want to, give to, I don't mind giving to the homeless, but I also want to make sure that they're not doing that whole stolen valor, which it doesn't bother me. Have at it if you want to try to be a thief like that. But it doesn't bother me anymore. It used to, but it doesn't. I've just moved on with it. It's if you got people that cover that stuff with the stolen valor, and let them have it. But I just let it roll off my back. It's, you want to be stupid and do it.
It's about what it is, because there's people that will take every chance that they can, and but there's some people, you can straight up tell them that they're trying to be somebody who they never were and stuff. And like for me, I was never ashamed to tell people I was only just a cook in the Army and stuff, and I said, I was a golden spoon recipient.
I was a glorified chauffeur. That's the way I put it. I was a glorified chauffeur. It was fun.
There's opportunity. But being a cook also opened up me for a lot of opportunities and stuff, and that was one thing, even now, I'm still working on schooling and stuff. I'm 56 years old, I don't want to live my life as a, I want to keep going, and finding my new inspiration over the last several years working with veterans is helping me there. And when I finally get finished with my schooling and I get the rest of my life figured out here, hopefully in the next several months, I am going to open myself up to start working with veterans, but I'll probably start working with a certain organization, which I don't know which one and stuff, might even be helping you out on your podcast. I don't know,
Yeah, you're always more than welcome.
But it's one of them things where I'm not going to make that commitment to any organization or anything right now, because I got too many irons in the fire, and I don't want to be able to commit what I can commit until I get ready to do it.
Oh, absolutely. I hear you on that, because I've got 2 podcasts that I do hosting on. I'm actually looking at going back to school to get a law degree. So I'm actually in the process of that. I've done my grounding school for flight school, because I'm really intrigued with flying. Um, I'm a truck driver full time, for a company. A full time dad. I'm full time at doing the day on the track with a veteran. Um, I've got my hand in every little thing. But I'd like to keep myself busy again. When it comes time to it, I don't want to not be busy. I want to be able to keep myself going with a lot of stuff. Um, but that's just who I am. Because sooner or later in 10 years, I'm not going to be working full time. I don't see it. My body's just has taken a toll with a lot of stuff, but I want to still be able to still do a lot of things. And though again, the only way I'm going to keep myself going is if I keep myself busy and pushing through things. But it's been a pleasure talking with you, James. I really appreciate you taking the time. I
No
know
problem.
we've been going on now for almost an hour. I want to have you back on again. So let's definitely set a time and a date, and you're always more than welcome at any time to do a show with me and have you on. Even if I do a live one, I'm gonna look into the track to find out what day they're doing tracks out there. I know I just actually had a update with the NASCAR stuff that they actually have they just did a 2024 posting, which they have it New Smyrna Beach, Richmond. They have 3 races up here in Thompson, Connecticut. They've got Riverhead. I don't know if you know, that's Long Island, which is still too far for you.
Yeah.
I don't know if I think that's Lancaster, PA. Richmond's another one, which I know Richmond, Virginia is over there by Kentucky.
Yeah.
But that again, that's probably a decent ride for you.
Well, being an ex-truck driver, sometimes I ain't too bad.
No, you enjoy probably
long
taking the rides.
Yeah, as long as I don't go north of Richmond, that's how I always felt as a truck driver. As long as I didn't go north of Richmond, I was happy.
Yeah, I know. I tell you, I don't want to go down that anywhere north of Richmond. I want to stay out of the DC and New York area.
Yeah,
They do have Martinsville, which again, that's over
East Tennessee, East
yeah,
Tennessee, Southern Virginia area.
yeah. And then they have, what is that? Um Oswick, where I can't even tell you what the heck this one is. It's
Oh, New York.
OSWEGO. Yeah, New York.
Oswego.
Oswego.
Yeah, that's over there by Fort Drum.
Yeah, they have the race over there. That's for the modified races so far. But I know that's just the modified racing. That's not the truck ones. Modified, I have cars that are in that one, but I do have truck series ones. So I'm just waiting for the list for that. But that again, I can't tell everybody enough that Derek Roby and Doug Roby, who started it, and then I've now taken it on and heading it up with them. We're doing a lot of stuff with that. And I also have a race, an actual Sprint Cup race car that's out of Stafford, Connecticut, that can actually get you in behind the wheel of driving it. And for people that have disabilities that can't drive it, they do have a passenger seat one, where they can ride in the passenger seat of it. And it's also modified with the door, so you can get in and people can get in and out.
Right.
So that's other stuff. So I'll shoot you that information, and once I have the truck series one, I'll shoot you the information on that, and we'll work something out. And again, these things that I'm doing with this, it's all paid expenses in the pits, food, drinks, all that stuff is all paid. No alcohol, unfortunately.
That's fine with me.
Everything else is paid. You get swag from me. You get swag usually from the race team. And if it's through Milton Cat, which is MRS, Milton Racing series. They will actually they provide swag as well. I do have what later on what I'll do is I've got some stickers if you want. I've got, which is black, and I don't know if they even show it, but white, which is, yeah, not going to show it, and then blue stickers. I'll send you out one of those. I'll have you send me your address or mailing address, and I'll send that out to you with also a t-shirt. Just I'll get your size and all that from you by the message, and get that out to you. So, all right. But again, I really appreciate you coming on. I'm going to have Beavis and Butthead to take it over for us, and we'll catch everybody else later. And good talking to everybody. And that's it.
Shut up! Shut up!
Yeah, shut up!
You suck!
Stop, in the name of all that which does not suck.
Thanks for watching Fubar Studios Veteran Reinforcement. Please make sure to check out the Fubar Studios on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and visit the website at fubarstudio.com. Fubar Studios is a Sinista1 Production.